Hey, community, let's have a dad talk. Greetings and hello there, everyone. It's me, your ever-loving Star Wars dad, Nooch Too Good, here with another edition of Dad Talks, talking to our community about the game, what's going on, and everything. We are here today with Runningbaldman. Still got the mini on there. That's great. Runningbaldman, how are you doing today in Louisville?
I'm doing good, Nooch. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Funny story. I jumped on with Runningbaldman, and he just said, "Hey, Nooch, how you doing?" And I thought he was from England. It's that, and I told him I think that Southern accent and the English accent, if you on a very limited basis, sounds similar, but you really got to isolate it. Anyway, that's probably not a good reflection on me. I'll take that back. So, Runningbaldman, I hope you're having a great day. Let's talk about this. Your sales pitch was, I have a Relic 9 Mace Windu, I'm gearing and relicking faction by faction, and this is the part that got me. I've been playing since summer 2016, minus a year when I quit and sold all my mods. Let's talk about that. You quit the game for a year and sold all your mods. Please enlighten me.
So, about the time that Darth Malak initially came out, I'd wailed a little bit at like Darth Scion was my first character that I actually wailed on. And when Malak came out, maybe the first or second time he came around, I got to looking through mods and was like, okay, I want this character. And I thought about going out and reaching out to some of those guys that remod your characters for specific events. And I sat back and looked at it like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this for just a game that has no real value other than pleasure? I mean, I'm not getting any money for it. I mean, I don't know that anybody's winning any money for playing the game. So after a little while, it just kind of progressed to where I just got fed up and tired of it. Like, all right, I'm done. I quit. And in an effort to make sure that I don't come back, I sold all my mods, and this was before you could do the select them all and just sell. You had to go mod by mod and sell everything. So I went through, I think it maybe took like a week because I do a little bit here and there. Sold all those mods, went through, spent all my Zetas, as much of my credits as I could. So I've got every character that I've activated at level 85. And maybe about a year, I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored. I need something to do in the morning while I'm doing the normal morning thing. So I brought back online and slowly started, remodding everybody, as I gear and relic them up.
Buddy, I mean, and that's the one thing I know, and because the mod system came out, like a year and a half ago, something. And before that, you literally had to go click a mod, click upgrade, click sell, and then probably accept it or something too, over and over. I can't believe you invested a week's worth of time into something to make sure you didn't come back and then came back. I mean, I feel, and I can see it. I can still see it in your mods now. So, I mean, I see 6 speed mods on Sith Eternal Emperor. What's going on there?
I am slowly, so right now, as I go through each faction and gear, once I get to a character to gear 12, I take them up to the gold mods for the 5 mods. And then when I go and relic them, I will make them 6 mods. So I'm going back through my current relics, and as I can, increasing those mods to 6 mods.
That's tough, dude. I mean, you got a 3-speed mod on Jedi Master Kenobi, a 5-speed, and it looks like you're working on it. You got a couple of good ones in there too, and you just unlocked him, so you're still getting them up to relic levels. But yeah, it's gotta be brutal to go in and just basically completely remod an entire roster over time. But hey, welcome back, I guess. How long have you been back? A few years now?
Maybe about a year and a half, I guess. And you mentioned JMK. I just unlocked him at the end of August, first part of September. But with that, I am 5 or 10 signal data from a Relic 5 Tusken Raider and being able to farm Lord Vader tickets.
Oh wow, okay. That's great. So you're gonna have so you just wanted to get Kenobi and Lord Vader on the roster. So let me talk about your farming goals, because it looks to me like you're more of a collector and a having fun guy. Like you said, you need something to do in the morning while you're getting ready. What are your goals in the game? Are you really trying to be the absolute best, or just is it just something to take up your time and you love Star Wars, or what's the story, man?
It's just something to do in my spare time. I mean, as far as the roster, I'm going faction by faction and making every character at least a Relic 5. So regardless of whether or not, like Qui-Gon for JMK, he only needs to be at Relic 3. Well, mine's at Relic 5. My guess, I mean, he needs to be Relic 8. So I took him up to 5, and I went ahead and took him on up to 8. Same thing with R2 when they announced Leia Organa. I already had him at Relic 7, so I just bumped them up to Relic 8. So if they're needed as a requirement for another character, then I'll go ahead and take them up to that higher Relic if they're needed. But their minimum is going to be Relic 5.
Yeah, I feel like you've kind of got like a combo thing here. Like you're paying attention, you know what kind of mods everybody needs. You know what the farms are. You want to do those farms, but you're not taking it super serious. Where it's dominating your life. Maybe you found that balance when you return to the game, where you can play it and have fun, but also try to be competitive at it. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of, sort of. Really irritates me when people who are hyper competitive come in and say, you need to do this, this, and this. Well, there's like 50 things that you're telling somebody to do when you can really only do one thing at a time. So just being that laser focused or that single-mindedness and working on that one thing. So like with me, I'm going through faction by faction and gearing and relicking characters. So when I started doing it this way, I started with my Separatist and Galactic Republic. So I would start at the lowest gear level character and take them up to that gear 12 and then move on to the next 5 tunes. So and then as I would relic them, I would take one character from that faction, take them up to relic, and then move to the other faction. So say if character A was Separatist, once he got to relic, I would move over to a Galactic Republic and relic a Galactic Republic character, and then move back over to Separatist.
I got you, man. So you got a couple awesome potency mods sitting on your Relic 5 cup. What's up with that? You got a 24-speed diamond and a 24-speed potency cross on your Coruscant Underworld Police?
Yeah, last I looked, he is in the top 25 fastest cups on .gg.
Did you share this with me before? Because I feel like I've had this conversation before. I don't know.
I don't know if I did cup or not. I may have. Who knows? My Mace, he is in the top 25 of either crit chance or crit damage on GG.
So let's talk about it. So you just mentioned that it annoys you when people like say you got to farm this and got to farm that. So do you watch roster review streams? I mean, what's your? Because that's all I do, man.
No, I do. I kind of get a little bit of a pleasure from it. You're not. You don't come off as you absolutely have to do this. This is the only way to do it. Whereas some of the people I've talked to in Guild Alliance, they're like, no, this is the only way you do it. Like I was talking to somebody last night, like, yeah, my JMK's gear 12 and I'm like a day away from Lord Vader. And he was saying, oh, forget about Lord Vader, focus on getting JMK at Relic. Like, I don't care. I mean, he'll get there when he gets there. It's not going to be any faster if I focus solely on getting JMK to Relic, because
right.
He's still a couple gear pieces away, and he's got to farm chirotechs.
No, that's great,
And-
man. I mean, that's really great. It's you're kind of like I don't know what I would say, like a farmer on steroids. Like you're really farming the characters and farming the teams, but you're not becoming obsessed or overwhelmed with like most of us are, like myself, for example, with just getting one team. Let's get to this team, then the next team, then the next team, and meanwhile, maybe a bunch of guys at R3. But you're kind of your method, kind of like you said, you get R2 now, and then when you got to get to Leia later, you don't have to get R2. It's done, and you finished it. So it may not get you into the highest guilds, it may not be super hyper competitive, but it gets you where you want to be. And I did look up your Coruscant Underworld Police, and yes, you're on that list. 266 speed. It's a pretty steep drop off. Like the fastest cup is 312, and there's a few people over 300, and then it just kind of drops and drops. Like it's not like most of these were to be 312 to 309 is the top 50. It drops from 312 down to 250 for the top, 249 actually. So you're right in there, man. Just congratulations on your super fast cup, I gotta say.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Looking at him, I did want him to have some potency because he does stun on what is basic, I think it is.
So what?
If I ever use him for everything, I'd like to have that stun land and just throw somebody for a loop.
So when do you use him for anything?
I don't know. Maybe as a meme, but I haven't used him for anything. But the way CG goes, they're eventually going to require every character for an unlock of another character.
Yep.
So why wait until the last minute and then cry and complain and moan about, oh, I can't believe they are requiring so and so at Relic 3 when, like Rose Tico, when they did Ray, like, oh,
right.
Rose Tico sucks, I'm not going to Relic her or whatever. And then so lo and behold, Rose Tico, and how many players have a Relic whatever Rose Tico because of GL Ray?
So, all right, I'm gonna go back to your roster here one more time, and kind of the state of it and where you were when you quit the game, and then I got a couple more. We'll talk about your Star Wars journey, and but I can see here. I'm guessing a lot of these Gear 12s came when you quit the game. You just took a bunch of people to Gear 12. You spent all your gear. I can see you put a Zeta on Night Sister Initiate. I see a Zeta on young Lando, young Han Solo, Bodhi Rook Zeta, K2SO Zeta. So I can see all these Zetas, and I guess all the Gear 12s. Is that what happened there when you left? You just put those Zetas on, and Veteran Smuggler Han, and then you got them up to Gear 12, to try and make sure you wouldn't come back. Is that right?
A lot of them, yes. I put that Zeta on there just as the spend down. But if I recall correctly, when I left the game, or prior to when I left, I was taking everybody. It wasn't faction by faction. It's just as I geared them to that Gear 12 with the left side 3. I think when I got my first Gear 12, that was the highest you could take them, was those left 3.
Yeah, okay. I see that on a bunch. Yeah, like a lot of them have the left 3.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a nice stopping point with that left 3. So when you do go to Relicum, you've only got 3 of the harder gear pieces to get, but you've only got 3 gear pieces to get before you can get up to Relic or Gear 13.
Well, Runningbaldman, you definitely have a unique take on this for sure on farming. So that's it's fun to meet somebody with a completely unique journey through the game, and then a unique way of farming, and it's good to see that. So let me ask you this: what is your Star Wars journey? How did you fall in love with Star Wars?
Oh wow, we're talking about in the 80s. Just watching it on TV, especially around the holidays. It always have the original trilogy on, like, what was it, USA or TNT or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That was the holiday movie that was always on. And then on in Empire, seeing through the speeder's dashboard, because technology wasn't quite there to completely block out the blur, so you'd have a little bit of the AT-AT in the dashboard of the speeder. And just when the Emperor was actually played by a woman and dubbed over and had monkey eyes, that was a really creepy Emperor.
Yeah.
So I mean, that, and I remember I had a Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker action figure, just play out in the sandbox. Um, and then growing up, junior high, high school, reading basically all of the EU novels that were out there. And then just kind of gradually, the prequel came out, and then there was that big lull of nothing. And then late 90s, early 2000s, I played the flight simulator X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter. So that had a nice little community playing online with their guilds, similar to what Galaxy of Heroes has. And then that kind of dies off, and this comes along, and here I am.
Man, it sounds like we have a very similar journey through Star Wars, man. I remember, man, USA. That's a network that you don't think about anymore. Because TV's pretty much dying, and especially cable TV is dying. So, yeah, you really don't think about that. But yeah, they used to show movies all the time, just different, all stripes of movies on the weekends and whatever. So yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So, Runningbaldman, two final questions. One, do you like to run, and are you bald?
I've shaved my head since 2002, so yes. Not completely natural bald, which I'm waiting for it to go natural so I don't have to shave anymore. But yeah, I initially started shaving it because at the time I was working in a restaurant kitchen, and it was just so much cooler than having hair. And
Right.
Don't have to worry about greasing and everything. I do enjoy to run. The longest I've done so far is a marathon. Back in 2018, I did the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. For that. And then since then, I've done a virtual. I was one of the lucky ones that did a virtual Boston Marathon. So that's just go out and do 26.2 miles, and then record your time and submit it to them, and they send you the little unicorn medal and your little packet and shirt and everything. I have not really run much recently since April because I was in mid-August diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So with that, my ankle after a couple miles kind of locks up and doesn't want to flex at all. So I end up dragging it on the ground, and luckily I haven't face planted yet, but I've stumbled a couple times. So since then, I've really focused on a bicycle. I've got basically a 10-speed in the house with a bike trainer, kind of like the roller bars that they put cars on in the wind tunnel, so they don't go flying through the wall.
Yeah.
Put it on the wheel. So I had a infusion therapy on Tuesday. Before I went to the infusion center, I did 23 miles on that. Yesterday I did 25 miles. And then today, I don't know, I've got it an interval set up at 80 minutes, so I'm thinking I might get 30 miles out of that, but we'll see if I actually end up doing the full.
Well, you are much more aerobically gifted than I am, and I'm sorry that you mentioned the MS to me before and I'd forgotten about it. I'm really sorry, man. I know you're not looking for that, but I know they have a lot of new treatments, but it still is something that over time is really difficult and changes your whole life. So I'm really sorry to hear that, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I just make the best of it. Do what I do. I've got family members that I've told them, they just start boo-hooing. I'm like, no, there's nothing I can do about it now.
Yeah.
So just make the best of it and carry on, my wayward son.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do, man? You can curl up in a ball and forget and hope it goes away, or you just gotta push forward. So,
yeah,
all right.
You can't just sit there and be like, oh, woe is me. You gotta be active and do something.
Yeah,
so.
Yep. Well, hopefully I can provide a little bit of entertainment to you along the way, sir. And I'm glad you're here today. Let me get.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, one last piece here, man. So, if you're gonna give one piece of advice or one thought or one tidbit to people playing Galaxy Heroes, what would that one thing be?
Have fun with it and don't take it too seriously. If you want a character, go for that character. Don't let the new shiny thing distract you from what your goal is. Even with all the little talking heads, whoever it is, or your guild saying you need this, this, and this. Focus on your goal, your progress. Yes, if your guild is doing rote, and they say, hey, we need somebody to step up and do I don't know, I'm gonna die at Relic 5 for platoons, then be that guy and help your guild out and do I'm gonna die at Relic 5. But excuse me, outside of that, don't get distracted with every little thing, because this game has definitely grown over time since it started in 2015. So there are 50 million different ways to play the game. Just play your game. It's your game. I mean, John Wayne sitting next door or halfway across the globe, he's got his own game and playing his own way. Don't let him dictate. You can take advice, but don't let him dictate on how you play your game.
Hey, 100%, man. Runningbaldman, I'm just going to say thanks for joining us today. I think that's great advice. And congratulations on your Relic 5 Clone Wars Chewie with his Zeta as well.
Right. And yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully, Runningbaldman's words of wisdom had an impact on you. We will talk to everybody soon. I'll see you on the next Dad Talks or on the next video. And always remember, Nooch too good.